pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll start our meeting with a moment of silence, please. Roll call, Andrea.
Council President Steeritz?
Here.
Councilor Schneider?
Here.
Councilor Stickley?
Here.
Councilor Steeritz?
Here.
And Councilor Frey.
Here.
We have 5 members present. We have a quorum.
Here. Gotta go slow because we're waiting for our guest speaker. Council has had time to go over the prior meeting's minutes.
I'd make a motion to approve the minutes as printed. Second.
Motion to approve the prior meeting's minutes moved by Councilor Stickley and seconded by Councilor Steeritz. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. We're gonna move forward because I'm waiting just a minute on our speaker. And we'll move on to our committee reports, if that's all right with council, and then we'll come back to Ms. Rebecca. So we have a committee report from our utility committee.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chamberlin was supposed to do that, but he's been excused, so.
Right,
There is a 4-page,
yeah.
a lot to read, and I'll be here till midnight if I read it.
Yeah.
However, I'm not gonna read it. I'll brief it down. It happened on November 4th after council meeting, last one. It was a little over an hour long with Keith Torbett, President Steers, myself, Shane Chamberlin, and Mr. Thompson was here. And I think that's about it. Tom McWaters was here, I can't forget him. John Arps was here. Rick Frey stayed also, and Andrea took minutes. So, it was a long meeting, and it had to do with Mr. Thompson's problem in his home, getting sewage in it for the last, he stated 28 years. We, the 3 of us, went to his home, one at a time on separate days, to see what his complaint was. So all 3 of us went to his home on different days. His statement was that when he gets 2 to 4 inches of rain, he gets sewage backed up into his basement. It's been a long occurring process for years. However, the city has went down there and dug up a 10-inch sewer that's on the south side of Leggett Street and found a 5-gallon bucket of roots in there when they was using the camera system. They also found a ball of roots in the sewer, storm sewer, on the same area, different, just a little ways apart, another ball of roots. They also found on Chestnut Street by Vine, after smoking, and if I make any mistakes, please interrupt me, a storm sewer that was still connected from the old days of being connected to the sanitation sewer. So that didn't do us very much good, putting all that fresh water and having 2 blockage down there. So they also took out, I was told, 3 inches of sediment, and I think that was in the storm sewer?
Sanitary.
In the sanitary. So it's a 10-inch line over there with 3 inches of sediment plus a 10 to 12-inch root ball in it. Couldn't flow very well. Mm-hmm. So the city Public Works has got that all accomplished. Keith Torbett said there is 5 tiles that go from Leggett Street to the ditch. So they also, Chief Torbett, sorry, Keith Torbett, 2 used to call him Chief.
I know.
That he is putting it out for some bids. It's gonna cost the city roughly 2.5 to 2.7 million if we redo that whole section of the city with storm sewer, sanitation sewers, water lines, and bring it up and redo it. So that's gonna be a long process. The city believes, I'm speaking of Public Works, that with the work they've done, this should eliminate the problems on Burnell Street and Chestnut and eliminate a lot of the problems that we have for our citizens in that area. So the other problem we have, and I don't know how to cure that problem, and I don't know if Keith knows or not, but the citizens in that area, their stormwater from their property is still connected into the sewers, sanitary. They haven't, most of them have not separated that yet. So all the water is going into the storm sewer yet, which still develops a real problem. I don't know how that can be worked out. I don't know if anybody does right now. However, for the hour and some odd minute meeting, after all was said and done, we believe with the improvements that Public Works has done in the area, that we had no action taken, and we're gonna wait and see what happens. I personally called Mr. Thompson on a Monday after the 2 inches of rain we had during Rotary. On that Saturday, he said he had no water in his basement. So to me, that was a good sign. He believes that you have to have 2 to 4 inches within an hour or two. And I just stated that I think that a lot of parts of the city would be flooded with 4 inches of rain in an hour or two, so not only his. So no action was taken, Mayor, and we just kind of got it on the table to see what's gonna happen.
I appreciate your time on this issue. Thank you very much. Keith, do you have anything else that you wanted to add?
No, I
to
think
that
Harold
report?
pretty much covered it. I think it's a process, it's something we're gonna work on as far as the separation. The only way that's gonna be done is when we actually get that section of town redone, to actually have it where it's viable for them to separate. At this point in time, there's no reason to make that separation until we've got the new infrastructure in place to handle it.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So no action on that. So let's go back to our individuals wishing to speak to council. We have Jody, and I might mess this up, Rebecca, yeah, I messed that one up, from Pace Energy. And she's here to just update us a little bit on this subject. And if you have any questions, council, now's the time to ask.
So thank you for letting me speak tonight. I'm actually with the Toledo-Lucas County Port Authority, and I am here to talk about our PACE financing program through our Better Buildings program. So what it is, and some of you probably already know, but maybe some don't, we are able to provide financing for building owners wanting to make energy improvements to their buildings, and the funding is available by placing a special assessment on the tax bill. So the benefits of this are we're able to offer long-term fixed rate financing up to 15 years, and the money again is used to be able to make qualified energy improvements. So things like alternative energy, things like solar and wind qualify. Also things like insulation, windows, HVAC, boilers, geothermal, all of those kind of things, any kind of energy improving, anything that would show an energy improvement would qualify. So I know that in 2017, I believe we passed legislation originally, a special energy district has to be set up, a special improvement district has to be set up, and that was set up in Wauseon. So once that district is set up, it can be expanded by any additional anybody else wanting to do improvements. So there is an ESID board, Energy Special Improvement District Board, and I know they're having a meeting after this to talk about projects that may be in the queue, but talk about how we can use this for other businesses as well. And the Port Authority is excited. We're offering we'll actually be launching a residential program, and that is hopefully going to launch early 2020. We're looking at January 2020, so just in a couple months, to bring this to the residential market as well. So that's something I'll be talking to the ESID board as well. So it's kind of an overview, and it's a tool that I think a lot of times isn't well known that it exists, but it can take it can be a tool. I keep saying the word tool. I feel like I'm overusing that word. But it can be something that maybe a bank can't loan up to a certain amount, or you want to know that there's that fixed rate for a long term. And banks often reset every 5 to 7 years on what the rate is. So this way you know what you're going to be locked into. It's not going to change, and it's something where you can bank on the payment is going to be this much every 6 months on your tax bill. So any questions?
I do know that Swanton, Ohio is in the district as well, and Ace Hardware, I think last year or the year before, two years before?
I believe in 2 years.
Yeah, they utilize this program for their front doors when they remodeled, and I think the roof.
I believe they did, and Matt, I'm going to defer back here.
Was it the roofing project?
The
Solar up
project
there.
on top of their roof, and also
Was it the front
some
doors?
refinishing of their front
Yeah.
doors.
Yeah,
They also did some LED lighting.
right, that's right. So they did benefit from it. It was really nice.
So was Riley Tractor Parts in that too?
No.
Okay, we got
Well,
it.
they got
They
solar
did it,
panels,
I
that's
didn't
what he was asking.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, the solar panels,
Yeah, they got
yes.
solar panels on their roofs on those buildings.
Oh, Riley Tractor.
Yeah.
Oh, did they? I didn't know that Riley
Yeah,
Tractors did.
they're running their whole factory off of solar power. just
I didn't
Oh.
know if they used this or not.
Yeah, I don't think they use PACE for this, but it's
Yeah.
something that would definitely have qualified.
Yeah.
One of
Yeah.
the things that we see a lot is LED lighting upgrades, because it's a quick payback, it's an easy payback, and it makes sense to
Right.
make those upgrades. But yeah, Marshall Fitness was another entity out here that used it as well, so. But yeah, if anybody has questions, or if you know businesses that are looking, and it makes sense, because you're spending this money regardless, whether you're wasting it by energy loss or maintenance, or the money is being spent anyway. If there's companies that aren't quite sure how it works, or they're not quite sure how to finance, we can definitely be a resource, and I can be contacted, or Matt is another great resource to tell more about this program.
I'm anxious to hear about the residential too.
Yes, and that is definitely something we're looking forward to. I know a lot of people are, your furnace goes out in the middle of winter, what do you do?
Right.
So, definitely something that we can help with.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Moving on to committee reports. We did utility already, so department heads. Chief Sluter.
Nothing to report from the fire department.
Nothing at all?
Quiet up.
Okay, well, you got your hot water fixed down there, so that's good news. And Chief Chittenden is at class down in Columbus?
Yes, I know Potter.
Okay, so we have Assistant Chief Roof. Do you have anything?
Yes, December 10th, we have an Explorer open house where kids can come in and learn about the Explorer program. That's at 6 p.m. We have Christmas for Kids, December 14th. The deadline for the applications for that is the 22nd. So if you know of anybody who wants to apply, they need to get in by this Friday. And then we also have the interviews have been completed for the patrolman's test. We've got the order laid out. We just have to get the rankings approved by civil service, and once that's done, which will be Wednesday, once that's done, we'll start the interviews and polygraphing people to see who we're going to hire.
Great. Glad to see that's moving forward.
Real quick. Ned's supposed to be dropping a check off for $500 for Christmas for kids.
Okay, excellent.
So,
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't ask. Did anyone else have any questions for either chiefs? Okay. Keith?
Well, we've got a lot of irons in the fire. Just a few quick updates. The generator has been completely installed and up and running and operational at the wastewater treatment plant. Our biosolids project is done there as well. That's working out quite well for us. Thank God we had it this year with as much rain and stormwater that we had coming in. Otherwise, that could have been problematic for us out there. Met with Arcadis on the South Shoup water line. We've sat down, went over a few questions that they had, and those plans are going to the Ohio EPA for their approval at this point in time. Talked with them as well on the Enterprise Detention Pond. We have a couple of options there, so I'm gonna sit down with, like to talk with Jeff as well as a few other people on that, and give them what our options are on those projects as far as possibly taking care of the algae issue that we have down there. I know several people have received a letter in the mail reference a storm water petition for the west side over on Mr. Myers' property. I've talked with Rod Krieger on that. This is just the preliminary phases of it. I think the first meeting is going to be out at the church on December 10th for a walkthrough of the area. And then after that, they will start looking at who is actually affected in those areas, is checking to see if right now he sent out a letter to anybody in the area just in case they are affected. Then they'll start drilling it down to find out who is affected, and then we may look at different options on how to take care of that problem in the future. We have several other projects in the fire, but if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask, but that's what I've got for tonight so far.
I have one question. I know you just took over, but over the year, this year, we have a lagoon at the wastewater plant to dump sewage into and then reprocess it.
Yes.
Is that had been used this year different
Yes.
times?
Yes. It's been used extensively. We had an issue with the old generator during the transition process that wasn't connected and the power failed out there. If it wasn't for that lagoon, we would have had a serious issue. But that, it has been, and with the stormwater that we've been getting, that's been used several times, and it's kept the water in there without it having to be, having any overflow incidents where we need to contact the EPA.
So the sewage wasn't dumping into the
No.
ditch?
No, all of it got
Used to be.
treated. As far as I know, Harold, all of it got treated.
Well, I talked to somebody and said that,
Yeah.
so I just wanted to make sure that
Mhm.
question I was right, that when I told a resident that it's not being dumped into the ditch, raw sewage is not.
No.
Goes
No,
in
we
the
would have been
lagoon and
notified
it's
for
all
that.
processed, so, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Jamie?
You'll see on your agenda, resolution 2019-25 is for the Ohio Plan Risk Management. We got the renewal back from them. The premium will be due on December 2nd, so I'm asking for an emergency read of that. It came in just slightly above what we paid last year, so we're still doing well with that group. Just finished having budget meetings with the mayor this afternoon. We have a few questions for a couple department heads. So we should be able to ask for a finance committee probably tomorrow afternoon. Ask the chairman to schedule that. And then also we will be having open enrollment meetings tomorrow and Wednesday. We'll be able to get everybody signed up for insurance, and we shouldn't have any issues getting cards out to them by January 1st this year. I'm asking for all of them to be turned in by December 6th. So that's going to be a much smoother process than what we had gone through last year. And that's all I have tonight.
Who's coming on insurance too? I couldn't hear, I'm sorry.
What did you ask?
The insurance for the city employees,
Right.
how are we coming on that?
She just said that, that it's coming along really smooth and that everything should be ready to go by the 6th, that they should have their cards or all the information in by then, by December 6th.
I apologize, I can't hear Jamie from this side of the fence. so. Sorry.
You need to be mic'd. All right. Tom?
I don't have much to report. I do need to do a little explaining with respect to Resolution 2019-26, which is the resolution to appoint someone to serve as a housing officer. Originally, when we had talked to committee of the whole, that person was going to be the Director of Public Service, which is Keith. We subsequently learned that Steve Brown had by motion been appointed as the housing officer, and the consensus was to allow Steve to remain in that position. Went back and read the ordinance, and it turns out the person has to be appointed by resolution technically. So we thought, since we were discussing this, we would just go ahead and have a resolution appointing Steve Brown to continue to be the housing officer for the community investment area, big tax exemption. What you have before you, apparently, I did the corrections, but I must not have properly transmitted those to Andrea. And as the document reads now, it's still a Director of Public Service, but I believe the intent is to have, where it says Director of Public Service, to read Steve Brown. And I can make that correction following the meeting in the typed version. But the long story short is the resolution is just sort of a technical thing to appoint by motion Steve Brown, who otherwise was serving as housing officer by virtue of a motion in past days. So that's along with an explanation of that. So if you want to, on each of your draft resolutions there, cross out Director of Public Service and put Steve Brown, you can do that, or I can get in a cleaned up copy to Andrea first thing in the morning. The community, just to remind council, the community reinvestment area tax exemption is just a provision whereby an entity that does remodeling or new construction can petition the council or petition the city for tax abatement over a period of years. And the housing officer is a person that is responsible for just reviewing the documentation submitted, sending the application to the auditor, and asking the school for comments. So it's an administrative act, actually. Have I totally confused everybody?
Pretty much. You talk too much, huh?
Sorry. It wasn't as long as your report, though.
I know.
Any questions on that at all? Okay. Let's start our resolutions then, because there's quite a few. Resolution 2019-23. A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement for a countywide emergency management agency.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
This needs,
Suspension.
oh, yeah. Huh? That's what I thought. Just make a motion to suspend the rules.
Yeah. we
This
made a
needs to
motion.
be a suspension because it needs to be done before the 1st of January. So,
All right. Motion to suspend the rule of 3 readings on resolution 2019-23, moved by Counselor Schneider and seconded by Council President Steeritz. Is there any discussion? Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Steeritz?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Steeritz?
Yes.
And Counselor Frey?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Final reading.
Second.
I heard Rick first. Motion to place resolution 2019-23 on final reading, moved by Council President Steeritz and seconded by Counselor Frey. Is there any discussion? Council President Steeritz?
Yes.
Counselor Frey?
Yes.
Counselor Steeritz?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
And Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Resolution 2019-24, a resolution recognizing November 30th, 2019 as Small Business Saturday and supporting awareness of Small Business Saturday and declaring an emergency.
I would make that motion.
Second.
Motion to place resolution 2019-24 on emergency, moved by Counselor Stickley and seconded by Counselor Steeritz. Is there any discussion? Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Steeritz?
Yes.
Counselor Frey?
Yes.
Council President Steeritz?
Yes.
And Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Final. Second.
Motion to place resolution 2019-24 on final reading, moved by Counselor Schneider and seconded by Counselor Frey. Is there any discussion? Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Counselor Frey?
Yes.
Council President Steeritz?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
And Counselor Steeritz?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Resolution 2019-25, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Ohio Plan Risk Management Incorporated for casualty, liability, fire, and property damage insurance and declaring an emergency.
I would make that motion.
We're getting to the end of the year. everything's an
Second.
emergency.
Motion to place resolution 2019-25 on emergency, moved by Counselor Stickley and seconded by Council President Steeritz. Is there any discussion? Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Council President Steeritz?
Yes.
Counselor Frey?
Yes.
Counselor Steeritz?
Yes.
And Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Final reading. Second.
Motion to place resolution 2019-25 on final reading moved by Counselor Frey and seconded by Counselor Steeritz. Is there any discussion? Counselor
Yes.
Counselor Steeritz?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
And Council President Steeritz?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Resolution 2019-26, authorizing the mayor to appoint Steve Brown, not Keith Torvet, as the housing officer to the community reinvestment area and declared an emergency.
I would make that motion.
Second.
Motion to place resolution 2019-26 on emergency moved by Counselor Stickley and seconded by Counselor Schneider. Is there any discussion? Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Steeritz?
Yes.
Counselor Frey?
Yes.
And Counselor Steeritz?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
You
That
wait.
sounds a little too.
Final reading.
Second.
Motion to place resolution 2019-26 on final reading moved by Council President Steeritz and seconded by Counselor Frey. Is there any discussion? Council President Steeritz?
Yes.
Counselor Frey?
Yes.
Counselor Steeritz?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
And Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Thank you.
Resolution 2019-22. A resolution authorizing the mayor to renew an agreement with Schoenhardt and Associates for accounting services needed to handle the GAAP gap accounting.
I would make that motion.
Second.
Motion to place resolution 2019-22 on second reading moved by Counselor Stickley and seconded by Counselor Frey. Is there any discussion? Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Frey?
Yes.
Council President Steeritz?
Yes.
Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
And Counselor Steeritz?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
We have nothing under third reading. Under new business, we need to have a motion to appoint Keith Torvet to the Wauseon Special Energy Improvement District PACE Board.
I would be pleased to make that motion.
Thanks, Errol.
You're welcome.
I'll second it.
Motion to appoint Keith Torvet to the Pace Energy Improvement Board moved by Counselor Stickley and seconded by Council President Steeritz. Is there any discussion? Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Council President Steeritz?
Yes.
Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Counselor Steeritz?
Yes.
And Counselor Frey?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Busy one, we meet once a year.
Yes.
Can we have a motion to approve the bills?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion to approve and pay the bills is presented moved by Counselor Schneider and seconded by Counselor Stickley. Is there any discussion? Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Steeritz?
Yes.
Counselor Frey?
Yes.
And Council President Steeritz?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
May I have a motion for adjournment, please?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion to adjourn moved by Council President Steeritz and seconded by Counselor Stickley. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
I got a joke and say yes, but I thought it was going 5 minutes.
Yeah.